let's go to Portland now. Portland Trailblazers have signed Damian Lillard. This is a 3-year, $42 million deal. It seems like they had some competition. It seems like Boston was interested in signing Damian Lillard. Okay. I want to first start with the excitement that is Damian Lillard being back in Portland. It's just cool, right? It's just really cool to me that we're going to get Damian Lillard back in Portland. He is a legend there for obvious reasons. He is one of the best players in team history. Also coming off of an Achilles tear. He's going to be rehabbing in Portland anyway this year. I get what they're doing. I get giving a guy like a bit of money to come in, hopefully be a leader. Like, honestly, I would love to see him just like be around the group and help Scoot Henderson and be like a veteran presence and really, really help some of their young guys, like hopefully focus on. Look, like, I don't want to say their guys are unprofessional. I don't mean that when I say this. Their guys are just young, and I think that there is a way to help them become even better professionals.
Sure.
With having Dame like focus on his rehab and just helping those guys out. You know what I mean? I think what I'm struggling a little bit with the Blazers is I can make a case for all of their moves in a vacuum, right? Like we were pretty good with the Drew Holiday deal, right? Like I think we were higher on it than most in the public sphere. You can make a case for Hansen Yang. If you felt like Brooklyn was going to take him at 25, if you felt like, some other team was going to jump in there, sure, right? I don't know that you can make a case for all of these guys and all of these moves in conjunction with one another, I guess is my thing. And they still have like a bunch of flexibility salary wise, even though they have Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant signed through the 2027-28 season. And guys, you better believe that those deals are signed through the 2027-28 season, because they aren't getting more money than 37 for Drew in 2027-28 and Jeremy Grant getting 36 in 2027-28. Those are 3-year deals, guys.
Yeah.
Those are not 2+1s. Why does this make sense?
I'm with you. So here's what I'm trying to reconcile with myself. So I consistently make the argument that young rebuilding teams need what? Veteran presence and to an extent floor spacing as well. And, with Drew. So like, I'm trying to because I'm getting frustrated with the Wizards for selling off all their vets all of a sudden whenever I kind of like their offseason, and now they're getting rid of all of them. Now they still have 2 there that makes sense. We'll see how that plays out. So I'm trying to decide, can I crush the Blazers for valuing the same thing that I'm, applauding the Wizards for, or have crushed the Pistons for not valuing for 4 years? Part of it's because it's like these contracts are so big, but the other thing is like,
yeah.
And like the idea of even the Holiday trade, like you gave up to get that. This Dame one is fine, like you said, in a vacuum.
Well, so Bryce, let's like compare and contrast what Portland did with Detroit, right?
Okay, sure.
So Detroit last summer, because that's the leap they're trying to make. They're trying to go from where Detroit was last summer to where Detroit got to this year, right? That's the reality. Detroit did it in a way that made a lot more like strategic cap sense, right?
Yes.
You look at their team. Okay, we're going to go out and we're going to get Tim Hardaway Jr. on an expiring deal. He's going to help. He's a vet who can knock down shots. We're going to sign Malik Beasley on a 1-year deal. Yep. We're going to, trade for Dennis Schroeder, who's an expiring contract.
They only signed Tobias to a 2-year deal, even if it was excess money. It was only 2 years.
Exactly right. The Blazers here now are set up in a situation where they have, I believe it's like $42 million on the books 3 years from now for Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard, when those guys will be 30. I mean, I believe Drew will be 37 and Dame will also be 37.
Yeah.
Like there's a way to do it strategically and intelligently. And there is a way to do it in a way, like there's a way to do it that locks your books up. And unfortunately, I think they've like really, they haven't locked their books up. Like I'm aware that they have real flexibility financially, but okay. So let's say that they utilize that flexibility next summer, right? So you have, what is it? 70 million or so between Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant.
Yep.
You have 27, I think 26 between Avdia and Lillard.
Yep.
And then you add another 20 for Scoot and Klingon. You're in a space now where I believe that they have like 129 million on the books, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, why aren't you using that money to like renegotiate and extend Denny at that point?
Sure.
Like why aren't you like Denny's, we think Denny's a real dude, right?
Yep.
We think Denny is freaking awesome. But like a lot of that flexibility goes away if you renegotiate and extend him, right? And then Toumani Camara has a deal forthcoming.
Yeah.
Where he's going to eat into that space and they can't they cannot have him on that $2.4 million next season. It's got to be a situation where he's making X number of dollars off of his figure this year, right? So he's at 2.2 this year. He signs a contract next summer that's probably like 20 million. Maybe it's like very similar to the Nemhard deal where it's 359 or something like that. Right.
Just so people are aware, Toumani was a 2nd round pick. And so like there's no restricted free agency, 5th year stuff. He's not a 1st round pick. So he hits straight unrestricted free agency in 2020-27 if they don't do something next offseason.
Well, he is restricted if they, well, I don't know if they have a team option on the deal is the problem.
So Spotrac has it non-guaranteed in 26-27 and then straight unrestricted free agency in 27-28.
No. It is a team option. They have, it's both a team option and a non-guarantee.
In 26-27?
According to Keith on Spotrac. So.
Yes, but I'm saying in 27-28 though is what I'm saying.
Yes, for sure. But they're going to have to handle that next summer. Is Correct. My point. Like,
yes, same.
Toumani Camara next year is going to be making somewhere between 15 and $20 million, I would guess.
Yes. Okay. Same page.
So, okay, you have to handle that. You can do that after you handle like a renegotiation and extension if you want to, because you can just have Toumani's restricted free agency rights after you decline the team option and then bump him up if you want to. The space goes away in a hurry. The reason that this is in such like a positive position right now is because Toumani Camara and Denny Avdia are making $15 million on the books in 2026-27. That just like might not be reality is I guess my point. Like if I'm Portland and Denny does what you and I think Denny is going to do next year, I'm trying to add as much time and money to his deal as I can in a way that makes sense because it'll be a discount on the last 2 years if you add money up front, right? And you have the flexibility to add the money up front. So
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yes. So I'm just kind of looking at this in the totality of their situation. And I think that like right now it looks a little bit more flexible than it actually is, I guess.
Yeah, because so that's what I'm trying to hash out as well. Because when I look at it, it's like, okay, these numbers are big, especially for Drew and Jeremy Grant. They are 3-year deals, to your point. But a lot of these deals we're talking about won't kick in until after that. Or at the very most, you have 1 year in that final year of 27-28 where Toumani might be, Toumani's might have kicked in. Theoretically, Shaden's could be on his first year.
I mean, that's the other thing. Shaden's a restricted free agent next year, so like probably have to pay him if he's good. Right?
Oh no, Shaden. Yeah, Shaden's first year. Yeah, it could be first or second. Like it's going to come up. Like they're fine right now. It will be interesting to see how they handle next offseason. That's a good point, Sam, because when I first looked at it, I'm like, you know what? Like, I think they're probably okay. Some of these decisions aren't going to come up until those are expiring deals. But next offseason seems like a tricky offseason for them in terms of who do we pay? How much do we pay them? And it will be interesting then if 70 million between those two guys ends up being any sort of hamper to some of those decisions.
And this is where you can look at like two sides of the coin with the Dame deal, right? On the plus side, his presence like might really help, fast track Scoot and Shaden and those guys, and like really, having like a vet leader who is around them all the time, who's getting treatment, who is hopefully around the team, like that would be really beneficial, I think, to them. And that would really help them continue to grow as players. And you might get the information that you need at that point, right? Like that is the reality. Like you really might get that info. But what if those guys don't fast track, right? What if Scoot takes like another step forward, but is, I don't know, let's say he is a 16 and 7 assists guy next year, like a really good player, definitely a starting caliber point guard in the NBA, but you're not sure quite what it is. You know what I mean? You're not quite sure if he, at 22, if he's got like real star power juice remaining going forward, or if it's, if this is a slow and steady build, or what is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if Shaden like still can't defend, but averages 20 points a game, like, and does like the Ben Mathurin thing, right? Like, I don't know. I just say that it's a funky team, and I can make a case for all these moves in a vacuum, but in totality with one another, I've got some real questions on what exactly is happening here. And on top of it, I mean, guys, like Damian Lillard, I'm going to be expecting to start next year. Like not in like 2025, 26, but 2026, 27, like Dame is a top 75 player of all time. Like he's not coming in and just being like, oh yeah, I'm good to come off the bench. So, okay. Do you start him in Scoot? Like, is that the plan? Do you start, maybe Scoot isn't good enough and like you found that out. Maybe this is an insurance policy for Scoot, but I'll tell you, like talking to people in Portland, they are excited about Scoot still. So I'm just confused about the totality of the moves, I guess.
It was a very interesting
quote, no laying up, the totality of the plays.
I don't know.
Shout out Tron.
I don't know what you just said. You spoke a different language for a second. Listen, like for a team we were very excited about as this season ended and spent a lot of time on our offseason preview, it is a different vibe with them right now because it seems like there was a lot of roster turnover and some big contracts on the books, some big names on the books. I can't fault them because then I would be going against what I've said about teams that are in this realm of NBA rebuild in terms of having players that help you get information on your young guys. It's just kind of weird to me because they have a couple guys who I think I know what they are. And then you have Scoot and Shaden and Klingen and Hansen, who I have no idea what they are right now. So like, I love Tumani and Denny. And I feel like those dudes are real NBA wings that you can like, I don't want to say build around, but can absolutely be part of whatever you build. And then you have these vets. Like it just, I'm with you. I don't quite understand it. I don't quite see it. At the end of the day though, Sam, my biggest thing that this team has to find, you have to find your star. Like whenever you compare them to other teams, i.e. the Pistons, the biggest difference is Detroit has Cade Cunningham and the Blazers don't. They have to find their Cade Cunningham, whether that's Scoot, whether that's Shaedon, and maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe they felt like bringing in a Drew Holiday and I guess keeping Jeremy. Well, they probably can't do anything with Jeremy Grant at this point. Dame's not going to help you answer that this year, but maybe his presence in general will make you feel better about what you see from Scoot and or Shaedon this year. And so ultimately, I think it can be a win if those guys provide those answers, because at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important for Portland. Is Scoot that type of guy? Is Shea that type of guy? Is Hansen that type of guy? Right. And those are the most important questions they have to answer to me. You got to keep Denny and Tumani around, and then you have to go find, because those are great wings for whoever is the guy. You got to get answers on those other guys in terms of what, and Klingon, I shouldn't leave him out as well. So it is a weird roster, but I have a hard time crushing bringing in vets that can help you find answers on young guys.
What are, let's play this game. Where is Portland in the hierarchy of the West right now? They're outside of the top 10 still for you, right?
So my immediate answer was outside the top 10. They're above the Jazz. They're above right.
Let's just play this game, right? Okay. So I'll go division by division because that's just like easy. We'll start in their division. Okay. Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Denver.
No.
Lakers, Clippers, Warriors.
No.
Grizzlies, Rockets, Spurs, Mavericks.
No.
So I think that there is a world where they can finish higher than the Grizzlies and the Mavericks. I would certainly not project it at the very least, but I think there's a world, right, sure, where you could see that happen. If Anthony Davis plays 40 games next year, if John Morant plays 40 games next year, like that can happen. Yep. I think for sure.
I would agree.
Right. Definitely ahead of Utah.
Yep.
Definitely ahead of Phoenix.
Yeah, sure.
Look, like I think Phoenix is going to be pretty rough next year.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, I mean Phoenix has Devin Booker. They actually have centers this year, but I mean, I just like Portland better. So yeah.
Sacramento, I think, is going to try and win. It feels like.
So Sacramento's.
I think I would take Portland ahead of Sacramento if I'm being honest, but.
So I just kind of like Portland better. Like we've talked about this with Sacramento. Like I bet if you went player by player, you would like end up with Sacramento if you're just comparing players by players and overall talent. It seemed like Portland tapped into something at the end of last season. And I think they're still going to have that. You know, I think Drew's only going to expedite that, assuming he's happy there. And, you know, I think Drew's professional in the way that he'll buy in, whether he's happy or not, and do the things he's asked to do. So, yeah, sure.
I think it's like probably close, but I think that having Drew there, hopefully another year of Klingon improving. I'm not like super high on Hansen Yang, like coming in and playing, you know, heavy minutes or anything. I think that they're in a better position organizationally than where Phoenix is. And I think that they have like a real identity, whereas Phoenix is going to be like trying to find their identity.
Sure.
Next year. And then, I mean, here's the funnier one. I mean, New Orleans is trying to win because they don't have their pick next year, which I think we both think that Portland is going to be better than New Orleans, but nonetheless, you know what I mean?
Amazing. Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy. The thing about Portland is for next season, like they should be a top 10 defense. You have Drew Holiday, you have Tamani Kamara as like all defense-ish level guys. You have Donovan Klingon, who I thought was awesome in the back half of the year once the Ayton thing ended. You have a whole bunch of like other interesting players on the team. Denny is like a pretty good defender. He's not like a great defender, but he's a pretty good defender. Definitely above average defensively, let's call him.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant's at least like an adult. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a great defender, but he's an adult. And then you have Rob Williams as your backup center. Like they should be a top 10 defense in the league if this goes well.
Sure. Yeah.
So they have an identity. I think that you're looking somewhere between 9 and 12, probably for Portland. Is like getting into like having to win 2 play-in games, like to get into the playoffs, like the spot you want to be in?
Can I will say this, Sam. I feel like I learned this last year. We always default to, well, we'll learn lessons in the playoffs. You got to make it to the playoffs or the play-in. What I learned last year with Detroit was you actually learn more throughout the regular season than what you realize because games matter. I watched 4 years of games that did matter. Yes. That's right. And I watched 4 years of games that did not matter. And it was fascinating to watch 82 regular season games that did. To watch for whatever it is and whatever people think about it, even the in-season tournament where Detroit had a win in your end game against the Bucks, like we learned that they weren't quite ready for it at that point in the season. And so I started telling these people like, oh, we're going to learn so much in the playoffs. I'm like, yes, we will. But we've learned a lot the last 30 games of the regular season because they were playing for position. They weren't resting dudes every night because it didn't matter. So I think just being in a playoff play-in race teaches you a lot and you can learn a lot of lessons. Is it to the extent of the playoffs? No, because it's not the same type of basketball, the physicality, the scouting, etc. But if they're in, let's say they end up the 9 seed, Sam, I don't think that you only get 1 or 2 games of data collection. I think you get 50 regular season games of real data collection as well. That is at least valuable to some extent.
Here's the last thing I'll say on Dame. I just don't know who else was paying this number. It's kind of my thing. So like Boston was the other team that got brought up here, right? Boston, I don't believe has more than like $6 million to spend on an exception like this. So why are you giving him the full mid-level? Like you're basically paying $28 million to have Dame for 2026-27. And okay, that might be a number that is good. Like if Dame is definitely worth $28 million if he gets back to what he was after the Achilles injury, right? Like Dame for everything that happened this year averaged 25, 5, and 7 and shot 45, 37, 92. Like he was still freaking awesome at basketball this year. True shooting percentage, 8% above league average. You know, his last 3 years, he's been like freaking phenomenal in terms of like efficiency still, right? So I just 36 years old, coming off of the Achilles. Why did you need to do this much? I guess is my question.
So that's an interesting question. We just did this with Marcus Smart. Is the value that Dame brings this team, because we just talked about learning about your young players this season, right? Because you have real decisions coming up. Is Dame being in the building more valuable than anything else you could have done with the non-tax MLE this offseason or as a trade exception during the season?
Maybe, but you could have used half of the non-tax MLE and, you know, you used, I guess like my point is, could you have done 10 million of the non-tax MLE?
Especially since you gave him a player option and a no trade clause, right? Like
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of my question here on all of this. So I don't know. Maybe there was more of a market than what I'm anticipating, and that's why they had to do it. But it feels like a bit more than what they had to do, I guess.